Hello, twisted humans.
Do you find yourself wanting to know more about the latest murder, conspiracy, cult, or haunting?
Then this is the podcast for you. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Sierra, and this is Twisted and Uncorked. Hello and welcome to episode 98 of Twisted and Uncorked. Oh my god. It is coming up so fast on 100, like I'm gonna die.
Sierra has been researching a lot for that episode, guys. We are inserting our 100th episode in amongst our special topics and before our serial killer. So it's a little out of whack, but it's our 100th. We got to do it we got to do something big. Right. Friendly reminder to send in your favorite episodes, cases, moments, sangrias, whatever you would like us to talk about on the show.
Yeah. The 100th episode research has me reading books that are depressing, but also so intriguing. But to keep myself upbeat, I've been trying to supplement with reading more interesting, not real books, fictional books. Mm-hmm. And one of them that I read led me to this case I'm doing for you today. Ooh. But before we get into it, do you have a fun fact for me?
I do. Penguins projectile poop.
That's disgusting, but I knew that.
To keep their nest clean. Which,
yeah,
if anyone knows this fun fact, it may be because they saw the same clip that I did of this poor fucking penguin in the middle of two other penguin nests just getting shot with poop. I know.
No.
I'm going to send it to you right now.
I don't want to see it.
The poor penguin.
So they projectile poop to keep their nests clean, but they don't give a shit about other people's nests, other penguins' nests. Wow.
I know.
How rude.
It's so sad.
I knew this because I saw it happen before at the aquarium. So
actually?
Yes, it's disgusting.
I mean, it makes sense because when they sit on their eggs, they sit on their eggs for a really long time, and you would just be pooping on your egg if you couldn't projectile poop.
Or you just get up and walk away and poop.
Yeah, you could, but then your egg will get cold. And did you not watch that documentary on emperor penguins? If they walk away from their egg, it could freeze, and the baby inside could die.
I did not. But I did go to the Atlanta Aquarium one time where they do the March of the Penguins, and they always say, stand back, they can poop on you. My fun fact is that wedding dresses were not always white.
Ooh, tell me more.
So, in the 1840s, or before the 1840s, I suppose, when people used to get married, they would wear whatever fucking dress they wanted to. It didn't matter what color, white, yellow, purple, brown, pink, blue, black, any fucking color dress that they had on hand. It was just a dress that they wore. It wasn't one that they only wore for that day. They wore any random dress from their closet to get married. In 1840, though, is when Queen Victoria of England married her cousin. But anyway, got married. Yes, it was to her cousin.
I like how you just had to throw that in there.
Yes, of course. That's how they did it in the royal family. But
I love
anyway.
that, though. I would also just like to go on record to say, if you choose to go about doing this, please don't wear a brown dress. No one looks good in brown.
Some people look good in brown. It's a very earthy color.
Not in a brown dress. I draw the line at brown dresses. A brown cardigan.
Find a brown dress.
Cute. No.
I'm going to find a cute brown dress and prove it. After Queen Victoria did this, everybody wanted to be like her and also wear a white dress. And also, Queen Victoria, being the fucking queen, was rich. So she only wore her dress that one day. And so wearing a wedding dress, not just a dress to your wedding, became a symbol of your status. So people started doing it to prove that they had enough money to wear a dress for only one day, which I think is real fucking shitty.
It is really shitty.
This makes me want to have a wedding where I wear any fucking dress of any fucking color that I would wear on any fucking day.
Why not?
I want to have a wedding where every one of my attendees have to wear their wedding dress. Wear your dress again. Everybody wear a wedding dress. Wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be really
That'd
cute.
be so cool.
Those photos would be amazing.
And I would just wear like shorts.
Watch the poop video. You need to feel bad for the penguin too.
Where's my phone?
Penguins actually have projectile poops. They do this to keep the nest clean, which ensures the safety
And the
of the
saddest
eggs.
part is he's
Penguins
not going to
actually
get
have-
up because he's got to protect his egg.
He's just gonna sit there and poop. Right on his face. That's so rude. I don't like that penguin.
I don't either. I felt so bad for him. I hope he had his lady penguin come and rescue him from watching the egg and got to jump in the ocean. And not get eaten by a polar bear. That is my wish for this penguin.
Poor penguin.
Poor penguin. If you were covered in poop, you'd need a drink. What are we drinking today, Sierra? That's the best segue out of my random shit that's ever occurred, okay?
Oh my goodness. We have a sangria that was recommended to us by a listener.
Yes, and she's also a patron.
Yes, our patron Ashley sent us a recipe for a white wine sangria. It is a peach sangria, a different one than we've done in the past, but it's really good. It is
really
literally
good.
just white wine, frozen peaches, pureed peaches, and a honey
Bourbon.
whiskey or bourbon. So in the video they used Jim Beam honey, and I couldn't find Jim Beam honey, so I got Jack Daniel's honey. But it's really good. It's really strong, but you almost don't taste the strength because of all the other flavors there. Like, you know it's there. You can feel it in your mouth, but you don't really taste it.
Like
So
shabuzi.
I like it.
I do
Yeah,
too.
I sent it to
really
my
like it.
my dad loves peach everything. I sent the recipe already to my dad. I was like, you need to make this.
Yeah, I thank you so much, Ashley, for recommending this to us. And it was so perfect because when she sent it, we were just going into our week with the white wine. So it's like, this is going to be our next one. If you also have a sangria recipe to share with us, please do. Especially if it's as simple and delicious as this one.
Yes.
What would you rate it?
I don't like honey-flavored alcohol very much. It is good mixed with a peach, definitely. But it's just not something that I usually choose.
Nicely. Yeah.
Right. So I'm going to give it an 8.
Okay. I think I'm going to give it a 9.
Before we get into the story that I have to tell you, my disappeared story and the crazy book that I read, we are going to take a really quick break to hear a promo from our pal Tara of 3 Spooked Girls. I'll be right back.
All right. Tell me a story.
I am going to tell you a story. I was looking for a case to cover for the Disappear episode, and I came across multiple people who all disappeared in the same area, but they weren't really linked together.
Ick. I
And was
don't
like,
like
what
that.
the fuck is this? So I started researching the town, and I came across this really cool book called Shadow Child. And it was on a Wikipedia page for one of these disappearances. And I was like, ooh, I have to read this. I love reading a true crime book for a story. It was not a fucking true crime book. It was a horror fiction. And it was terrifying. It was the first horror book I've ever read. And, like, I couldn't sleep at night, but it was so good I couldn't stop reading it. So I finished it in, like, 2.5 days. But anyway,
It was scary.
The
I couldn't
idea-
sleep at night.
it was terrifying.
I'm sorry. No, I'm laughing because you're really cute.
The idea for the book came from the fact that so many people had disappeared in the same area.
Okay.
So I am going to tell you about those disappearances today. And again, because the book idea came from this, it's the same setting as in the book.
Okay.
So it really makes the disappearances that much creepier.
Spooky.
Or the book
okay.
that much creepier if you go read it.
Okay.
Much like the famous Bermuda Triangle, there are many areas of the world, and particularly America, where a stranger than usual thing might happen in a triangular region. Today's story is about a triangular region in Vermont called the Bennington Triangle.
Oh, shit. Okay.
The term Bennington Triangle was actually coined by Joseph A. Citro, which is the author of the book Shadow Child that I read. So he came up with the term Bennington Triangle. The Bennington Triangle, he declared, was a mysterious piece of land in southwestern Vermont which held Glastonbury Mountain directly in its center. Surrounding the mountain and also comprising the triangle were Bennington, Woodford, Shaftesbury. Somerset and Glastonbury are said to be ghost towns, not touched much since the 1800s.
Okay. So real old.
Really old. It was once a logging town, the mountain, and Somerset right next to the mountain, but eventually, they logged too much and they ran out of fucking wood. And also when you log that much, the roots aren't in the ground to hold it together, and it's a fucking mountain, so there would be mudslides and stuff, so everybody had to leave. So now nobody really stays there.
It's a real problem all around.
Yeah. The area where the mountain is thought to be either haunted or cursed.
Definitely cursed.
Some even believe that there are monsters in the forests up there. The monsters most commonly said to be in those trees are actually Bigfoot. Many people have claimed to have had Bigfoot sightings or to have found larger-than-man footprints. However, in the creepy little book that I read, the monster is much, much smaller. Actually more fairy or fate-like, relating more to the Native American folklore of the area, which I might talk about in an upcoming Urban Legends episode. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. So maybe head over to Patreon and sign up for $1 a month. I actually already wrote it, so it's ready to go.
The best sell ever. I'm not promising you something that you can't have yet.
Yes. I was going to do that, not for this episode, for the bonus, but I was like, this is too short and way more like an urban legend. So anyway, hauntings and curses and monsters are all just local lore and legend. None of it can actually be proven, but what can be proven is the reported cases of the people who did disappear right there, all in connection with Glastonbury Mountain. 8 different people in the time span of just 5 years, all having disappeared during the spooky season of autumn.
Oh, no. Same time of year,
Yeah.
too?
Yeah.
Ugh, okay.
The first person to disappear was a man named Mitty Rivers on November 12th, 1945. Mitty was an avid hiker and experienced outdoorsman. He hiked the same trails very often and knew the area very well. He was even often a guide for other less experienced hikers and hunters. He was 74 years old, but hiking all the time left him in really good health. On that November 12th, Mitty and 4 other hunters, including his son-in-law, were out on a hunting trip, hiking through the forested mountain. He was their guide for the day. The trek was going well. They made it up. They hunted around. They were headed back down. But at some point on the way back down, Mitty got too far ahead of the men. Just far enough that they couldn't quite see him any longer. We don't know for sure if he veered off a different way, stopped to wait for the others nearby, or went on all the way back to wait. But when they finally made it back all the way down, Mitty wasn't there. The 4 others reported Mitty missing very soon after, and a search was underway. For over a month, search crews, including firemen, volunteers, and even the army, looked for Mitty, but they never found a thing. The only clue was a single rifle shell that was floating in a nearby stream.
But that
we don't even know if it was his. Yeah. That's all we know about that. That case is still opened. Nobody knows anything.
It's crazy. Stop doing these things to me. It's like missing for... Why are you like this?
It is like Missing 411, but it's all in the Bennington Triangle.
I know.
And if you read the book that I read, you'd be terrified.
Well, I'm gonna add it.
Go read the book.
Hold on. I'm going to add it to my Goodreads.
It was only like 270 pages, too. Like, it wasn't even a long book. It was super easy read. And, by the way, let me just let you know, it was written in the 80s. Mm-hmm. It was his first book. It was written right after It by Stephen King. And his publishers, you know, that he sold the book to, decided on the cover art. He had no say in it. And the cover art that they chose for the original release was a picture of a clown.
Oh.
But the book has absolutely nothing to do with a clown.
That's such an
not even a mention of a clown.
Cover,
yes, it was only chosen to be a knockoff of It because It was doing so well. And the only, like, 2-star reviews that I saw on this book were saying this doesn't even have a clown in it. Other than that, everyone loved it. They bought it because of the clown, but then loved it because of what it is. So he eventually decided to change the cover. Because, like, he was like, that wasn't my fault. I'm sorry.
I didn't know to say. It has nothing to do with clowns. I know. I wrote it. Aww.
Right. But it's still a really fucking good book. I really liked it.
My list.
It's my only horror. I would really love for you to read it ASAP and tell me books that are related in terms of horror, because I don't like horror very much. Again, I'm a very, like, visual person. Like, usually I can read and talk about these things, but if I see it, it's bad. But when I'm reading a book like this, I also visualize. So, I don't want something too scary. So gauge how scary it is and tell me what books are just this amount of scary, no more.
That's my job? Okay.
Yes, that's your job. Another disappearance was that of Pearl Tedford, though not much is known about her disappearance, as it was never officially reported until much later.
The name Pearl is so cute.
Pearl was just 28 years old and married to a man named James, who was 28 years older than she was.
Jesus.
At 56. Well, I mean, it's the 80s.
I know, but
or
that's
40s,
like...
actually. It's the 40s.
Okay, but in the 40s, are you going to get much more time with him past 56? Like, damn. I'm sorry.
Well, he was sent out for military service during World War II, and when he returned, Pearl was gone. While he was away, there weren't really many people looking in on her, so it was James himself who had finally reported her missing. When James asked around, the only information that anyone had was that they had last seen her headed to the grocery store. No one ever saw her enter the store or return from the store, and their home was left abandoned with seemingly all of her stuff, everything left inside.
No.
On its own, this doesn't seem too strange. I suppose she could have just left on her own, maybe run off with a younger man. But then, 4 years later, in 1949, James too would go missing. He was last seen on December 1st on a bus leaving St. Albans, Vermont, where he was visiting family, and heading back to Bennington, Vermont, where he now lived in a retirement home since his wife never came back. The bus had to drive through Green Mountain National Forest, where Glastonbury Mountain is. Glastonbury Mountain, sorry. There were many other passengers on the bus that day. At least 14 of them testified to seeing James Tedford on the bus, sleeping next to his luggage. None of them, though, saw the man ever leave the bus.
No.
When the bus made it to its final stop where James was meant to get off, he was no longer there. His luggage still sat in the seat where he was last seen, but James Tedford had just disappeared in transport.
He was deleted.
So, when everyone, the last time they saw his wife, she was headed to the grocery store. Did the same thing happen to her 4 years earlier?
And what are the odds?
No trace of either of them was ever found.
That's insane. They're a poor family. Like, how do you explain that?
Yeah, I don't know. The most famous disappearance during this 5-year period was the 1946 disappearance of Paula Jean Weldon. Paula was the 18-year-old daughter of an industrial engineer, architect, and designer named William Archibald Weldon. And with a name like Archibald, you just know they were a wealthy family.
Of course. Have we learned nothing from Gossip Girl?
Right? Paula was a sophomore at Bennington College. This is a girl in college at 1946. That's amazing.
Right.
And on December 1st is the same day, 3 years later, that James disappeared from the bus.
Okay, weird.
Weird. On December 1st, after her shift at the dining hall, she wanted to go for a hike. She had asked around her friend group to see if anyone wanted to tag along, but everyone seemed busy with other plans.
Never go for a hike.
Paula, I love hiking.
I do too.
I have not gone hiking in a long time because I'm scared to go by myself.
Never go hiking alone.
But I love hiking.
Yeah. I think that's just being safe now. Like, if
I used to
the
go
amount
hiking
of
alone
true crime
all
shows
the
exist
time.
now, and you didn't learn something from it, come on.
I know, but nature is beautiful. When I worked at the state park in Tennessee, I went hiking alone all the time. Granted, it was in a state park. But I mean, kind of all of it's in a state park. This is a national park. I don't know. I just really
find
like
a
hiking.
hike that has...
I just felt safe in Tennessee. I don't feel safe here.
Find a hike that is cell phone friendly, and we'll video chat and both go for a hike alone. And we can see each other's locations that way.
Anywhere I go that seems sketchy, I always text my sister and I say, keep an eye on my location. I'm doing this right here. And, you know, she'll look at it and she messages me. She messages me throughout and she's like, are you still there? Are you okay? And then eventually I text her and I'm like, okay, I'm leaving now. The other day I went to go buy a new sewing machine because mine is still fucked.
Aww.
From somebody on Facebook Marketplace, and I turned down they messaged me. They're like, this is the address. I'm the last house on the road. And I turned down on their street and it was a gravel road. It was 8 o'clock at night. It was dark as fuck. And I texted my sister and I was like, please keep an eye on my location. I don't know where I am. It's dark. I'm by myself. And I was there. I got the thing and I started driving away. As soon as I started driving away, she was like, are you leaving now? And I was like, yes. And she was like, okay, good. Just making sure that was you leaving.
Yeah,
she
right.
saw my location moving. She was literally keeping an eye on it. Yes. Extra safe.
I like it.
Okay. She asked around her friend group to see if anybody wanted to tag along, but everyone seemed busy with other plans. Paula decided that she was going to go out alone. It wasn't dark or anything, and this area she was going to was a hiking trail. There would be many other hikers out and about on Glastonbury Mountain.
Yes.
She hitchhiked to the trail, which is like, don't fucking do that, but she made it there safely and was spotted by many other hikers along the trail in her bright red jacket. One couple of hikers specifically saw her walking just a few hundred feet in front of them on the same trail, until she rounded a corner and they lost sight of her. As they, a couple steps behind, rounded the same corner, they noticed that she was just gone. But there was an intersection right there, and they thought maybe she had just taken, the other turn that they did. She went left, they went right. Either way, they never saw her on that trail again. That night, before Paula's roommate went to bed, she noticed that Paula still wasn't home yet, and thought maybe she was just out studying at the library. When the roommate woke up the next morning and Paula still wasn't home, she reported her missing to the college administrators. They first did a search of the entire campus until it was discovered that she was last seen headed to and then on that trail at Glastonbury Mountain. The search of the trail and the surrounding mountain areas went on for weeks, with hundreds of volunteers, firefighters, the National Guard, and helicopters. But no sign of Paula was ever found. One man was actually suspected in her disappearance because he had had an argument with his girlfriend that same day and stormed off in the direction where Paula was thought to be hiking, the other way in the intersection that the couple saw her.
Suspect. Interesting.
But there were no signs of foul play, no evidence to link him to her or to any crime, and her disappearance remains unsolved. Next, we have the disappearance of Paul Jepson. Paul was only 8 years old. when he went missing on October 12th, 1950.
All of these are sad, but that's real sad.
I know. Paul's family owned a pig farm and often brought Paul along in the truck to drive around and tend to the farm. On that October 12th, Paul was riding in the truck with his mother on their way to feed the pigs on the farm. His mother got out of the vehicle to feed the pigs for just a few minutes, but when she returned to the truck, little Paul was not there. Paul was last seen wearing a bright red jacket, just like Paula.
So
it
there's
should
a
have been
connection with a
easy.
year and a day and a connection with colors now. I don't like this.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. It should have been easy to find him if he had just wandered away on the farm and gotten lost. They should have been able to see a bright red anything.
Yeah, no kidding.
But an extensive search for the boy produced no clues or leads. According to the locals, scent dogs, which were brought out during the search, led the police all the way to Glastonbury Mountain, at the same intersection where Paula was last seen by the hikers behind her.
Ew,
And the dogs
same color,
lost
same...
the boy's scent at that intersection.
Okay, can I just put out a PSA to stay away from this fucking mountain? Like,
Right? His family said that he had been talking about visiting Glastonbury Mountain constantly in the days leading up to his disappearance.
just no.
He has never been found.
Sir.
Yeah, seems like this little boy was probably psychic or something.
This is really sad, dude. Why?
He knew something was going to happen on that mountain.
I know. But they say little kids are very intuitive.
Or little kids can talk to the fae.
And they're like, come into the woods and then you'll never be seen again.
Yes.
I don't know why they have an accent, but I don't like it. If anyone ever approaches you like that ever, even if it's me, just run. It's fine.
That same year, in 1950, just 2 weeks after Paul disappeared, a 53-year-old woman named Frida Langer went missing on October 28th. Frida and some of her family were camping near the mountain, and she and her cousin decided to go for a hike together, something they were known to do often. During their hike, Frida slipped on a rock and fell into a creek, making her clothes and shoes wet. As they weren't too far from the campsite, Frida told her cousin to just wait right there while she ran back to change her pants and shoes so they could continue their hike. He waited for almost an hour before returning to the campsite himself to see what was taking her so long. But she hadn't even made it back to the campsite. She was gone. For weeks, the area was searched by 400 people, including helicopters, but no trace of Frida was ever found. As each of these cases continue to happen, more and more people are volunteering to help because they know about the ones that had disappeared before. So
Maybe they
many
have a little bit
people
of insight into the
were
area,
trying to find her.
Yeah.
Yeah. 6 months later, in May of 1951, Frida's body was found near the campsite in an area that had already been extensively searched. No cause of death could be determined because of the condition of her badly decomposed remains. To this day, hers is the only body on today's list that was ever located.
Okay, I was going to say.
On November 6th of 1950, Martha Jeanette Jones, who was only 16, disappeared as well. For a few days, her parents assumed that she had just rebelled and run away with her boyfriend to Virginia. But once they got in contact with him and learned that this was not true and that he was also looking for her, they finally reported her missing. Another search in the Glastonbury area took place, and just like the others, nothing connected to the young girl was ever found. And then finally, number 8. On December 3rd, 1950, Frances Christman left her home to visit her friend on foot. Her friend only lived half a mile away. Frances Christman never made it to her friend's house and was never seen again. By this time, many people suspected that there must be a serial killer in the area. But the differences in the victim profiles made the police think otherwise. Some were men, some were women. One was a small child, some were teens, and others were elderly.
Richard
Their social
Ramirez.
and that's true. Their social and financial statuses were also pretty different, causing the information reported in each case to be much more or less than the others. So the last two that I told you, they didn't get much reporting on. They weren't super well known. They weren't super influential. Whereas Paula Jean Walden, if you type in Bennington Triangle, a picture of Paula pops up. Because that one, her family was rich. None of the victims' bodies, except for Frida's, has ever turned up, and there was no evidence to a crime having been committed in any of these cases. Between those 5 years, of 1945 to 1950, 8 mysterious disappearances had occurred near the Glastonbury Mountain in the Bennington Triangle. And since then, there have, of course, been many more disappearances, but never as many as 8, in as strange of circumstances as these, in the short span of just 5 years. No one knows if these cases are linked by anything other than these unusual circumstances. No one knows if there was a killer, or an abduction, or a portal to another dimension, or a monster in those woods. And we may never know. That is my story on the mystery of the Bennington Triangle disappearances. I think that a portal makes so much sense based on everything that I've read in the last year. However, that fucking book has fucked me up, and I'm so scared that the Fae are scarier than I thought.
Well, I mean,
it's terrifying. You just have to read it.
Monster. I'm going to. Monster. I'm scared to. Monster. One more time for the people in the back. Monster or another dimension are my 2 favorite theories as well. Deleted from the Matrix, another dimension, whatever you want to say. Something weird happened, guys. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Great job. I don't know what to say about this other than just fuck.
Thanks. Yeah, there's not much to say, unfortunately.
Stay away from the fucking mountain, guys. Words of advice.
Yeah, there's not a lot of information other than what I told you. It was, the fucking 40s. The mountain is scary. It's probably cursed. Honestly, if it was, it could be just straight up nature fucking with people. Like, why the fuck did you ruin this fucking mountain? Fuck you. Now I'm going to ruin your lives.
Stay away from the mountain, guys. Stay tuned for episode 100.
Stay away.
Read your books.
And don't fuck up the mountain. Or any other mountain, or you're going to curse them with bad juju forever.
Or just any of the planet. Just be nice to the planet. God damn it.
Be nice to the planet. It fights back.
Yeah. We don't have a planet B, guys.
Take care of it, and it will take care of us.
Yeah. Kind of like take care of your body, and hopefully it takes care of you.
Yeah.
Sometimes
you fuck it up, it's going to fuck you up.
Drink your apple cider vinegar. There's lots of lessons to be learned this episode.
Yeah.
Our little fortune cookie nature over here. Thank you guys so much for listening as always. If you like the show, don't forget to leave a 5-star rating and review. It makes our dark hearts so warm inside. It really does mean the world. I mean, we work hard on the show. We say it all the time, but it means it makes all the difference when one person's like, I like it.
Yeah, definitely.
So thank you for listening. Before we roll on out of here, Sierra, what day is it today?
Today is the last day of the month. It is January 31st. And on this day, in the year 2023, that means today, we have a special announcement. Twisted and Uncorked will be corked for the next 28 days. And Alicia is going to explain that.
That's the funniest shit I've ever heard. Well done. We will be writing this book together. It'll just be filled with puns.
Yes.
Yes. So we are participating in Dry February, which is a donation program to cancer research. It's supposed to help you focus on your health, your own health, while raising money for a terrible, terrible disease. So we are participating in Dry February. We are going to do some fun virgin cocktails throughout the month. So we'll still have our little drink segment, maybe some nice teas. We're not sure. But we are going to be donating our Patreon funds for the month towards that, as well as any donations you guys want to give us throughout the month will be put towards that. So I will have
all
our
of February's money.
Dry February link below.
Yeah, all of February's money will go to the either Canadian Cancer Research or American Cancer Research. We're going to do 50-50,
Yes.
As well as every bit that we usually spend, which is about $10 to $15 a week on wines or sangrias, we are going to donate from our own personal banks. Me to America, her to Canada. We know too many people suffering with the illness of cancer right now, and it seems like it's getting as medical as, God, what am I trying to say? Medication, as doctors and research is getting better with treating it, it's also getting better at finding it. And so it's being found in a lot of people that we know and love, and we can't be silent about that any longer. So we want to do something about it. This is the perfect time to do that. Everything you donate to Patreon or whatever this month will go towards that.
I will have the link below as well if you want to donate directly to it. I will have a Twisted and Uncorked page, and you can just do the donation right through there.
That's right. And also, we are still running the promotion all of February that if you join Patreon for the full year, you get a free Fresno Nightcrawler plushie. But of course, your February amount of that donation will go to this fund. So,
Love it. At least still like $75 from each of us are going to there. Even if none of you donate, we feel good about it. We're focusing on our health, but we don't know a single person that has not been touched by this illness in some way. So we hope that you will be right there along with us. And if, you are only listening for the wine, I guess we'll see you in March, but I'm sure that's not why you're here. It's all the sommeliers.
yes.
And I'm saying that on a perfect day that we are recording this is actually my grandpa's birthday. So, yeah, as much as we don't believe in heaven and hell, happy heavenly birthday. And, we're doing this for you and people that have suffered like you. So, anyways,
definitely.
We love you guys lots. Thank you so much in advance, and we'll see you next week.
Even though we're not going to be uncorked, we are still going to be twisted.
Hell yeah.
Sorry, I was trying to give you a segue into the Keep It Twisted.
I love it. No, that's a good one.
You don't have to leave that.
No, that's a good one. And in the meantime, keep it twisted. Thank you for listening to Twisted and Uncorked podcast. Remember to leave a 5-star rating and review wherever you are listening now. It really is the best way to spread the word. You can also check out all of our sources and materials, as well as photos for the episode, on our website at twistedanduncorked.com. And you can follow us on social media at Twisted and Uncorked or Twisted_pod on Twitter. Thank you so much for all of your love and support, and we will see you next Tuesday for a brand new episode. Cheers!